Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Well, guys, it is hump day, and boy, what a week we have been having thus far. Last night, I was sitting there watching XRP just absolutely melt through the 80-cent range, went up to about 82 and some cents on Fiat Leak. And here we are this morning. We're still up over 80 cents, at least at the time of this recording. I'll tell you, it is amazing to see the strength of this asset in this marketplace. But guys, something else. The article that I was reading today is absolutely beyond belief. Now, this is talking about the stock market and how stocks and equities are also on the rise in a big way. But what really blows my mind, guys, is the reason that they're citing for it. And get this. They're citing positive bank reports where the banks are up on the, and I'm thinking, wasn't it that not too long ago where we were talking about bank failures galore and how tenuous things were and people lining up, and we watched a whole bunch of banks fail and this and that, and you had the FDIC going in there having to take over and on and on and on. Well, guys, why on earth do you think that these banks are actually now coming back up into the positive? Well, I'll tell you why, guys. Don't kid yourself. What we're seeing all these central banks around the world, the ECB, the Bank of England, the Federal Reserve, and all of them. And what are they doing, guys? They're going up and they're propping up these banks like no tomorrow. You literally had Christine Lagarde not too long ago, who is, the leader for the European Central Bank and used to be, hey, by the way, the head of the IMF. She's coming out and she's saying, oh, well, we have all kinds of cash to provide liquidity to these banks when they need it and da-da-da-da-da. And guys, that's exactly what we're seeing. We're watching the printing press fly. And of course, you're going to see a boon in these equity markets. And of course, all these other markets and crypto as well. And what's happening with the DXY? Well, guys, we're watching the DXY literally tumble. And it's that reverse correlation. When the DXY tumbles, boy, I'll tell you, have we ever seen some major appreciations in equities and especially in this crypto space? It is truly phenomenal. But guys, I think it's absolutely obscene that they'll come out and they'll report this as, not realizing, hey, where do you think this $4 trillion is going that they're printing off and all this kind of stuff? Come on, guys. We know that a lot of this money is just going right back into the markets, right back into the system. There's two sets of books. I love how Gregory Mammarino says that, guys. There's the public ledger that they let us see, And then, of course, there's what's really going on, which they don't want us really seeing. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going down. Because, guys, like we've always said, you stop the Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, all these central banks around the world from issuing one new dollar. And I love how Augustin Carson, the general manager for the Bank of International Settlements, Central Bank of Central Bank, I love how he calls it. When we're talking about fiat money, his definition of it is liability instruments. That's exactly what they are. And I'll tell you what, you stop the Federal Reserve from printing one more dollar, it is game over. Do you think that's going to let that happen? Absolutely not. The name of the game is inflate, 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 and that's all they have to do. That is the only trigger, and they are just going to do it until they literally cause the whole house of cards to come tumbling down. And guys, as we know, for the little guy, for you and I, hey, everything else is getting more and more expensive, isn't it? You're watching inflation go wild. And in fact, in one report that I read, the UK is still dealing with what they call a 7.9% inflation rate. Well, guys, it's way beyond 7.9. Ask any citizen over there, and guys that are watching over there in the UK, you know what it's like when you go to a grocery store and a dozen eggs cost you 2 times as much as what they used to. Or, like a few pork chops is way more than what you were paying for before. And, what your utility costs, your fuel costs, and all the costs that it takes to actually live is going wild. And it's not just the UK, of course, but hey, that's one primary example where we're just being buffaloed with a bunch of what. And that's what they want us to believe. They literally think that we have got to be a pack of blithering idiots that will sit back and just digest all this information that they get these statisticians to pump out just so it, fits their narrative. And here we are. Hey, we're in a big time, what do you call it? An election cycle right now, aren't we? And going into like 2024, where the U.S. are going to have their presidential elections and on and on and on. And hey, if you look, and this is a true fact, you look at all the cycles in the past during presidential, election cycles and things like that, and you see how well the markets have fared during those times. Hey, it doesn't take too much. You can put A plus B equals C, doesn't it? And that's what's going down. But guys, this is what's happening. And we're probably about to see one of the biggest runs that we have ever seen. Now, think about this. And I've said this before, but it bears repeating. When we were all, in that whole situation and the whole wide world was all, shut down and, from the service business to the manufacturing to the transportation, you name it. Everybody was, basically shut down. They're all banging their pots and pans and all this and that. One of the biggest bull runs in the history of, finance took place during that time in equities and, of course, in this market as well. I mean, you literally saw Bitcoin go from what? $3,500 in March of 2020 to over $69,000 in 2021. And hey, wasn't all of that stimulus money supposed to be used for the average you and I to help make it and stuff? Like, come on, guys. That was we got the little itty bitty bit of what they pumped into these markets like no tomorrow, because not anybody was producing, nobody was working, the economy came to a screeching halt, and yet, globally, by the way, remember that, and yet we saw one of the biggest bull runs in the history of the world. And I'm telling you guys, what we're about to see is going to literally melt faces. I genuinely believe they are going to pump this thing until we hit that 4.236 Fibonacci up there on the Dow. And then, guys, hey, I think we're due for probably one of the world's most cataclysmic crashes that we have ever witnessed. But hey, before that time, we're probably going to see one of the biggest increases in these equities and in these digital assets like we have not seen, I'm telling you. And guys, the very creators of the situation are going to want to come out and be the saviors of it. And what are they going to introduce to do that? You guessed it. They're going to introduce their new digital system. You are going to watch CBDCs coming in and with full force around the world. In fact, an article I was reading this morning about that very thing is get ready for them, because they're coming, and they are coming fast. Augustin Carson came out, BIS, Bank of International Settlements again, said 86 nations around the world are all ready to literally flip that switch. Guys, it's happening, and it's happening right now. Now, we've got one of the most coveted positions that you could ever want to have in this space, and that is that legal regulatory clarity that XRP enjoys, the only digital asset that has absolute legal clarity under the law. Nobody else enjoys that, and here you got XRP on the forefront of it. And guys, what we're about to see is going to literally blow people's minds. I genuinely believe that. And for those of us that had the God's grace, truly, almighty grace of God, to be aware of this space, the way in which we are, before it absolutely takes off, I'm telling you, the life-changing opportunities. I had a commenter, by the way, I'm going to point this out. And this is no criticism of the commenter, but this narrative is going out there. This guy was saying, or this person, sorry, was saying, that, hey, $100, XRP, that's no big deal. That's not going to be life-changing. Are you kidding me? Do you realize if for the average person that holds 5,000 XRP, if it was to go to $100, that's $500,000. Most folks are literally working, 25, 35, 40 years to pay off a mortgage? 40 years, more than half of a lifespan. And if you were able, you're into your mortgage, let's say 10 years, and then you invested into this space and for $2,500, at 50 cents, let's say you picked up your 5,000 XRP. XRP goes to $100. You have $500,000. You pay that house off and you save yourself 30 years of house payments. That is phenomenal. Don't kid yourself. Generational and life changes are coming in a powerful way, and that can have tremendous impacts. And guys, I'll tell you what, I know that we're in this space and we think, oh, everybody's aware. We are a small sliver and a minority. People will come out and say, well, I don't think the government's going to let that many people. That many? There are so few people in this space. When you think of the global population and the fact that so few people are even aware of the financial changes that are coming, that alone is mind-numbing. They are absolutely oblivious to it. And yet, here we are on the very threshold of such a financial revolution that it is going to change the fortunes of mankind in powerful ways. And yet, most folks aren't even aware of it. I'm telling you, you really, really need to just praise God and thank Him for the fact that you've been made aware of this space before it absolutely takes off, because it's my belief that we are going to see something that is going to literally it is going to absolutely mesmerizing. That's what I believe. Well, guys, I'll tell you what. Don't listen to all the hoopla that's going out there. You go out, you do your own research, you dig it up, you find those answers for yourself, because, hey, isn't it true that the answers that we find for ourselves are the ones where we believe in the most? You better believe it, because why? Guys, because we did the work to get there, that's why. And I really believe that. Hey, YouTube is great, but it's great for confluence. Don't base your confidence on somebody else's conviction, including mine. You go out and you do it. Find out for yourself. I'm telling you, I think it's going to open your eyes in amazing ways. Well, and that's my hope for you. I really love to come out here, share my enthusiasm, because I genuinely believe it. But guys, I'm doing it to just encourage folks to go out there and find it out for themselves. That's really what's going on there. Well, guys, I'll tell you what. I sure hope you're having a fantastic week thus far. You enjoy your hump day. You enjoy your Wednesday. You enjoy these big time gains that we're seeing here in XRP. Just enjoy it and look forward to the future. Now, I'll tell you what, we've got an amazing video planned for you later on today. And until then, guys, have an absolutely fantastic one and take care.